Hello and welcome back for another late night tarot session. Thank you for stopping by. Let's go ahead and check out what messages may be present for you at this time. Before I started your reading, I was seeing this imagery of a spiral and I felt called to, after doing the cleansing of the deck, to move that energy through. So perhaps that's salient to you at this time. There's something about really tuning in to the energy that's really present for you, really tuning in to that frequency that you are tapping into at this time. There's something about really trying to understand the quality of that. I love how different energies move through at different times of the day, and there's something about late night readings that just, I don't know, it's a little bit more sassy, a little bit more energizing. It's just interesting because I feel like when I do readings at nighttime, I don't feel like I fall into as deep of a trance state as when I do readings during the day. I'd be curious what it's like for you all, because I have a feeling that many of you that tap into this broadcast, right? Like this time that you and I are meeting, I feel like a lot of you do your own readings as well. So, yeah, I mean, we see that we're finding you in a place of, the word that's coming up is mystical. Like it feels like those of you that are tapping into this broadcast at this time, there's a lot of mystical energy with you. There's a lot of, I'm getting these words of like oracle, psychic, high priestess energy. It feels like you have this sense of knowing of how emotions are like energy in motion, and really looking at this human experience from a spiritual lens, from a spiritual perspective, of being able to see the higher octave of the lessons that are here. Incredible. Let's go. What messages are here for you? Ooh, okay. That's like a whole chunk right there. What else? Okay. Well, this plopped out as though really certain, which is interesting. Okay. So right away, I'm seeing that two ends. So out of the three cards, these are pentacles. So we have the 10 of Pentacles and the 8 of Pentacles in reverse. And then right in the middle is the swords, the 7 of Swords. So as I tap into this energy, it feels almost as though what had previously brought you pleasure, yes, what had previously brought you meaning, don't carry that same meaning anymore. It feels as though, like, there's something about the material realm that maybe in the past, like, you held, like, a lot of these material things and, like, a really high regard. You know, and I want to say that, like, there is absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to tap into the pleasures of this 3D realm, right? Like, that is very much a part of this human experience. And hey, like, if you feel that deep within yourself, like, yo, I want some money, like, yes, absolutely, and I want that for you. And with two pentacles, like the majority of the cards, 2 out of the 3 cards, both being pentacles, both being like related to abundance. I mean, we have here related to work, here, like at the end of that material cycle or the end of that earthly lesson, that cycle that you moved through, and that lesson that you learned, that you came to a sense of completion. The fact that both of these are popping up in the reverse tells me that you know what that's like. You know what that's like to really experience wealth and gains from the hard work that you've done. And maybe, we're finding each other at a place where you're like, you know what? Like, I am so burnt out, or I just don't want to do that grind, because I know that abundance is available for me and to me without me having to do that grind. So maybe you've been heavy in your masculine energy in the past, and you're really wanting to move into the divine feminine, of really stepping into this art of receiving. It is so interesting. As I'm sharing this with you, it's making me think about Mars and Venus placements and how that might be playing out in your chart at this time. Because this, to me, it feels like this dance between that moving towards energy and that expanding energy, that energy of like setting structure and that energy of flow. It feels very much like you are playing with these energies within yourself, and maybe you've realized recently that you've leaned more into one versus the other, and you're bringing that sense of balance back into yourself. Yeah, because it doesn't necessarily feel like, you're saying, no, I don't want money, or I don't care about that. It's more of like saying, like, hey, I put in a lot of work, and I kind of want to sit back and receive at this time. And that level of like awareness and surrender and self-love and self-care is incredible. So the fact that you're in that position is really amazing to me. Now, with the 7 of Swords in reverse, this is really interesting because this is towards the end of a cycle related to the element of air, right? And a lot of people like read this card as like when it's in the upright, of like this character, right? They are removing these swords that were going to be used for a battle or for a fight that is actually harmful. And so that's why, like, this is so different than like, the 5 of Swords, where there's like this stealing of swords and the background's all gray. But as you can see with this card, the background is all gold. So this is a very divine action. And so seeing this in reverse is almost like there's like some resistance to making this shift that you feel like may ultimately lead you down the path that you desire. And maybe that has to do with this, like, this shifting of energy of really, wanting to move out of that heavy masculine and really, kind of on that spectrum of like, heavy feminine, heavy masculine energy. And again, this is not necessarily linear. This is very spherical and very amorphous, but wanting to kind of shift from this like rigid, structured, very forward momentum, which is like such a beautiful charged energy, and wanting to like tap into that space of fluidity. There might be some resistance to it, even though you're really wanting to do that. And it feels as though like recognizing that, oh yes, like moving more into my feminine may call for, and I just saw an orb float by, and it felt kind of like this flicker of a flame. There's like this sense of knowing that as I move into this feminine space, or this more divine feminine energy, it'll be a little less structured. And that weightlessness can feel a little alarming at first, right? Like, oh, like where's the ground? Where's that steadiness? Where's that very concrete thing that I can like latch onto, that I can really feel tangibly, where I can feel like a sense of control. When you move into that divine feminine energy, there's a little lack of control, right? And there's more trust, there's more flow and ease. And so this is recognizing that, like, yeah, the structures, the plan, the all of that masculine energy really helped like get you to this place that you're at. All of the success that you've created, all of the accomplishments that you've had, and there's absolutely a place and a function for that, especially in this 3D realm. And it feels as though there's this part of you that's like, okay, I'm really scared to let go of these things, because what happens when I let go? Like, does that mean I won't like be able to get them again? Will they just like float away as I float into the waters of the divine feminine? Will leaning into the divine feminine, will that like bring on laziness, or like will my motivation drop? Because there's something about that masculine energy that is like, that has that fire, that charge, that motivation that makes things happen. It brings that sense of like urgency and control, and it can feel like such a high, honestly. And the divine feminine can also feel like a high, but in a different way. It's really interesting that you're in that place of wanting to bring that balance. And I think this is a really great opportunity to honor all of the strategies that have helped you get to this place, and knowing that they are still there, they are still within reach, they're like your moons, they're in your orbit, they are in your auric field, and you can call them in whenever you need, you can draw on them whenever you need. I mean, our brains are like this beautiful organic supercomputer that's just resting in between our ears. It's also like a time machine and a manifestation machine. And so at any time when you need those strategies again, you can tap into that. Easy. It's right there. So it's okay to let go. It's okay to surrender. It is okay to allow yourself to unfold into this new space where you get to explore, like, okay, what does it feel like to go with the flow and go with ease and receive? What is it like to receive at this place, this stage of your life, and what you have accomplished and what you have at this time? That is really cool. Well, since we're talking about the divine feminine, let's go ahead and see what messages are here for you in the divine feminine deck. I'm having this memory of like learning how to back float. For those of you that know how to swim, do you remember when you learned how to like back float? It's like one of those skills. I mean, I know for myself, my school actually required swimming lessons at one point, and different schools require different things, but I do remember that time of like having to trust first, the adult in front of me that's saying like, let's go ahead and lay you back. And I'm like, huh? Like, you want me to do what? And I gotta trust you? Like, I'm gonna sink and die, you know? Um, and that's also tapping into my ancestral wounds personally. I feel that deep into my lineage, intergenerationally, there has been drownings, like not gonna lie, because I have a very deep fear of drowning, and it comes up every time I tap into water. But then also there's such profound insights and beauty and like wisdom that comes through every time I tap into water, and especially when I dive deep into it and I open my eyes and I get to see like the world under the surface. It's just such an incredible experience. But that feeling of like floating on water, allowing yourself to do that back float, ooh, yeah, it can be scary. So let's go ahead and see what messages are here for you. Ooh, okay. So we have the diamond-hearted Dakini as one card, as one entity that you may tap into at this time. We also have Perpetua, the saint of authenticity. Okay. Some authenticity. Ooh. And then we also have Teresa of Avila, Our Lady of the Interior Life. Okay. You know, it is so interesting. I've had this deck for some time now, but I have never witnessed these entities before. So let's go ahead and dive into what messages may be present here. So the first card is on page 125. I have a strong feeling that I would mispronounce the name of this card. So I'll just go ahead and like put it on the screen so that you all can see the name, and then I'll read you the message here. Okay. So from her perspective as an enlightened female, she knew that the difference between a god and a demon had to do with our reaction to them. Those who cause us pain, she explained, also teach us patience, whereas those who bring gifts can distract us from our spiritual paths. No one and no single situation has the power to derail us. That is, unless we let it. The power rests within us. The spiritual path for her was to become intimate with her inner demons, those thoughts or beliefs that kept her from experiencing joy, bliss, and pure love. The darkness within us isn't actually dark. It often feels threatening because some aspect of our intuition knows that when we face it, we will reclaim a lost part of our soul. We will heal. We will become more whole, and that, ironically, can be terrifying. We get so used to functioning with only one wing. We wonder, how can I fly now with two? I'll go too far, too high. Who will I become now that I am free? And who will I lose in the elevation of my soul? She is here to support us in seeing what's ready to come to consciousness. She's here with her diamond heart to hold us as we feed one of our demons, not with fear, but with the knowledge that bringing it to life and into the light will help set us free. Soul Voice meditation is there an ego belief that I am ready to see and release within me? And the intention, I see the light in my own darkness. I face my ego beliefs to feel free. What powerful support to allow yourself to release these fears that maybe you won't have access to these strategies, that maybe you won't be safe. You are being called to release that. You are being supported in that release. Let's go ahead and look up Perpetua. Let's see here. Page 22. Bouncing between 38 and 8. 18. A lot of 8s here. And then 222. Maybe that's been present for you a lot. I've been seeing that number a lot lately myself. All right. So when your soul selects her card, we find the courage to be true to who we are. A vitality returns to us, a voice that's both moving and compelling simply because it's authentic. Saint Perpetua's words in her very personal and emotional diary were so impactful that 200 years later, the renowned church father Augustine would write about their beauty and truth. Saint Perpetua suggests that there is no greater power than choosing to remain our authentic self in all circumstances. She's that person who remained loyal to her soul. And she urges, through her example, to embrace the power of being authentic now. Even in the face of death, she courageously held fast to her truth, that she was Christian. Her right hand reveals the Christ mudra. She also reminds us that journal writing can be a sacred act of returning to ourselves, of listening to the soul voice inside us, and of going inward to find our answers. Perpetua is a call to a journal writing practice, even if it's just to record our dreams each morning. The inner voice that greets us as we write strengthens our authenticity. That voice becomes a light, a fire that calls to us and claims us as we dare to live out its truth. Wow, this makes me think about that orb that I mentioned earlier that felt like a flicker of a flame. So the soul voice meditation is, what is the truest statement I can say about who I am? And the intention is, I am my authentic self in all circumstances. So what a beautiful opportunity to go within. As you're engaging in this work of balancing the divine feminine and divine masculine and exploring what those look like within you, it seems like engaging in a reflective practice or tapping into that soul voice through writing may be particularly helpful. And for those of you who do not resonate as much with writing, expressing the voice, expressing that internal soul voice, however way you can be through, like verbally writing poetry, doing like a freestyle, perhaps a freestyle poetry, or even song, a lyric. This could be expressing yourself through art of some way, through moving your body. I feel like there's many ways that we can express our voice and tap into that soul voice within. So we also have Teresa of Avila. Let's go ahead and see what page she's on. 35. Landed on 24. Okay. Makes me wonder if maybe the way to pronounce her name is Teresa. Teresa of Avila. Saint Teresa is a call for the importance of the interior life. She knew intimately about the spiritual wealth we all possess and have access to if we are willing to go inward. She not only emphasized the need to meditate and to pray in order to reach that innermost castle where the soul waits for us, but she also instructed the sisters of her convent on how to discern the presence of the soul, or of a saint, or of a holy person that is giving us wisdom from within. She had a bookmark that supposedly read, "If you have God, you will want for nothing. God alone suffices." This synthesizes the wisdom of her experience. Nothing less than divine love will satiate a seeker, especially once you have met with it from within. She urges us to meditate, to pray, to go inward, and meet with the presence of the soul. And then she asks for us to believe that it is real, and that the answers we find are real. She asks us to move that inner truth out into the world with confidence and conviction. Soul voice meditation is, what does love feel like in my body? And the intention is, I trust the answers I find within me. I know that the presence of love is real. You know, it's really incredible that even with these last two cards, the messages that these divine figures are bringing forward is like inviting you to tap into yourself. Whether that is through expressing the voice or through meditation to receive. Again, it feels almost like that masculine energy of pushing forward, and then also allowing yourself to receive through meditation, because that practice of prayer and meditation, that is like of speaking and receiving, of giving and allowing, it's part of that flow, right? That conversation that we can have with the divine. And these are practices that can help you achieve that sense of balance by engaging in that practice of opening yourself up to receive, and by also engaging in that dialogue. So that seems to be another message that is coming through as well, that you are being called to engage in dialogue and conversation with your spirit team. They are here to help you. And these three divine figures, they are also here with you. Their wisdom is coming through. They are in your auric field. You are able to tap into this wisdom at this time to help you in this process here. Okay. Well, thank you so much for doing this work, and I wish you the best of luck in your journey. And I look forward to seeing you next time.